and better shoes. Most of the time, I want to become Mother Mary. I parent the same way Mother Mary did, in many ways, mainly in loving my kid more than words can say and saying so, complete with hugging, kissing, praising, and celebrating in general. Mother Mary thinks it's cute when I fart, and that's what we call unconditional love. Love is such a positive emotion, and kids need to hear it all the time, even grown-up kids. It makes everybody happier, like a hearty plate of spaghetti. I'm Italian, remember? But one thing that Mother Mary did not do is nag. And there's a reason for that. Let me remind you that Mother Mary grew up as the youngest of 19 children. This is not a joke. Well, at least I'm not kidding. The Flying Scottolinis were excellent Catholics way back when. Her mother, my grandmother, was married twice because her first husband died, probably from exertion. Even Italians have limits. Anyway, I grew up with Mother Mary telling me stories from her childhood, all of which rivaled Angela's ashes for their cheeriness. There were siblings who died in infancy. The family was so poor they ate her pet rabbit. There was no money to send anybody to college, and though my mother did well in school, her mother wanted her to drop out and get a job. Nobody puts Mother Mary in a corner, however. She defied her mother, worked while she went to high school, and graduated at the top of her class. God bless her. But even her funnier stories from her childhood make it sound like she was raised by wolves. Half the time, her parents didn't know she was around. Once she got pneumonia and nobody noticed. No one helped her with her homework, got her to the dentist or doctor, or made sure that she had books or clothes, much less that she was dressed and ready for anything on time. In fact, she walked half the city to go to her high school, through some very rough neighborhoods, all by herself. Needless to say, nobody nagged Mother Mary. So when she raised me, she didn't know she was supposed to nag me. She didn't get the memo. She made a decision to be more loving than her mother, and love came naturally to her. But although she loved us and was there when she needed us, she just wasn't in our business. She always worked as a secretary, and we let ourselves in after school and were generally responsible for ourselves. Not that I'm complaining. Brother Frank and I had a great childhood. We grew up happy, healthy, and pretty much in charge of our own fates. And when we got burned, we felt the consequences, so we never did it again. For example, Brother Frank started to ditch English classes in high school, and my parents didn't catch on until a notice came home saying he wouldn't be able to graduate. Opera ensued. My parents went hysterically to the school, which agreed to let him graduate if he went to summer school to make up for the classes, but also required him to walk at the end of the processional line at graduation. This was worse than it sounds. The processional line was an order of height, and the guy at the end of the line was so tall he went on to play for the NBA. Brother Frank was 5 feet 6 inches. At graduation, he looked like a sheepish caboose or a punctuation mark at the end of capital letters. And everybody laughed, eventually even Frank. Fast forward to when I became a mother with a daughter, and in the meantime, the world has changed. Walking at the end of the procession isn't the worst thing that can happen anymore. There's meth addiction, psycho killers, and reality television. So you know where this is going. I started nagging. When Francesca was little, I nagged her to do her homework, take a bath, clean her room, and wear a heavier coat, and she always told me to stop nagging. Then one day, I remember the morning she was in 5th grade, and I was rushing her out the door, nagging that we'd be late for school, and she simply burst into tears. She said, "Mom, you're ignoring me. I'm asking you not to nag me, and you're ignoring what I say." And I looked at my child, whom I had made cry, her round blue eyes brimming with tears. And finally, I heard her. I realized she was right. She's never been late for anything. She was even born on her due date. I was nagging her because I needed to nag her, not because she needed to be nagged. And that's why they call it emotional baggage. I'm learning to check it in all senses of the word, because I still carry it around, whether it's the way I parent or the way I deal with my daughter, my friends, men, the people I work with, and even my dogs. Dogs don't have emotional baggage. And if they did, they'd forget it at the airport. They know they don't need it. So I look for when it gets in the way of my relationships, especially mine to Francesca as she grows older. We are best friends, but we're still smoothing out the wrinkles between us. It's a lifelong process because we both keep growing, and those wrinkles have made for some of the best, worst, saddest, and funniest moments of my life. This is a book that chronicles those moments. It's about our lives, my daughter's and mine, living both together and apart as we both grow older. Precious few books are devoted to a mother's relationship with her adult child, which is crazy because those bonds become more important, not less, as time goes on.